Hello to all of you from the daily map report prepared by the Pioneer team. We continue to bring you the Russia-Ukraine war to the screens with our daily map reports. We will soon bring you the latest developments regarding the war. According to the latest reports, the front line was quite calm today. Although the counterattack of the Ukrainian Armed Forces continues in 3 parts of the front line, there has been no change on the map. Of course, one of the most important reasons for this is the winter preparations of the Russian army and the Ukrainian army. Both armies are preparing for the winter month. This situation causes the changes on the front line to slow down. So, what is the latest situation on the front line? Let's examine the latest developments together. As the Pioneer, we continue to report on the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. Also, please share the content you would like to see in our videos with me in the comments. Let's start if you're ready. The Pioneer reports. Let's first assess the gains of the Ukrainian army so far. Let's take a broad look at the Ukrainian-controlled areas and occupied territories of Ukraine. The Russian army occupied about 17% of the territory of the Ukrainian army during the invasion attempt launched in 2022. Together with the areas occupied before 2023, the areas of the territory occupied by the Russian army in Ukraine has increased to about 24%. The Ukrainian army, on the other hand, has so far liberated 7% of these territories, which were occupied both at the beginning of the war and during the counteroffensive. The maroon areas on the map shows the CES occupied by the Russian army before 2022. The red-colored areas, on the other hand, show the areas occupied by the invasion attempt launched in 2022. As you can see, these areas are gradually clustered in the east and the south of Ukraine. In general, we see that the west of Ukraine is relatively safe. The green-colored areas here shows us that the areas liberated by the Ukrainian army. We can say that the Ukrainian army's dominance in the north of Ukraine is even stronger, because as you can see, the occupation in the east of the Ukraine is not completely over. However, the occupation in the north of Ukraine has been completely eliminated. But in eastern Ukraine, where most of the occupation continues, the struggle continues. Ukrainian troops are fighting with great strength to repel Russian troops. In the ongoing clashes at many points, especially on the Zaporizhia front line, the advantage is in favor of the Ukrainian army. Now you see the red and maroon areas here. The Ukrainian army wants to divide the Russian troops by splitting these red and maroon areas into 2 lines. The division of the Russian troops is more important for the offensive of the Ukrainian army. Now let's continue with the latest situation on the Zaporizhia front line. As you know, the counteroffensive operations of the Ukrainian army are concentrated in Robotny region on the Zaporizhia front line. Let's take a closer look at this region on the map. The counteroffensive of the Ukrainian army continues in Robotny. However, the attacks are not limited to Robotny. As you know here, Novoprokopivka, Verbov and Novopokrovka regions are also subjected to attacks by the Ukrainian army. According to the information we have obtained from local sources, Russian troops in the region are in a very difficult situation. We have already mentioned before, apart from the damage caused by the Ukrainian infantry units to the Russian army, there are also damages caused by the Ukrainian artillery units to the Russian army. In particular, Ukrainian artillery units dealt a heavy blow to Russian troops in the vicinity of the Novoprokopivka. Ukrainian artillery, which has so far carried out fierce attacks on the Russian positions at many points, played a critical role in overcoming the dragon's teeth of the Ukrainian armored vehicles. Let's take a look at the Verbov sector. Now, there is a claim about this area, however, it has not been confirmed. Recently, a video was shared on social media. According to this video, Ukrainian troops allegedly entered Verbov. However, there is no confirmed information on this issue. We know that the Ukrainian armored vehicles are approaching Verbov. However, we know that the Russian army has a large and strong defense line here. There are these allegations. However, I do not think that this line has been breached in such a short period of the time. However, I must say this. No matter how strong and wide the Russian defense line is, the attacks of the Ukrainian army continue just as fiercely. Therefore, we can say that Verbo will be under the control of the Ukrainian army in very short time. Russian artillery units were silent in this area today. According to the latest reports, Ukrainian artillery hit Russian positions in Tokmak, Kopani, Ichenkov, Novoprokopivka and Novopokrovka today. Let's take a look at the Donetsk front line. Question. As you can imagine, the Russian army continued its traditional offensive in the direction of Marinka. So far, they have not achieved any success. The Ukrainian defense forces are resisting the attacks of the Russian army with a great determination. Apart from the Marinka direction, there were also attacks of the Russian army in the Avdiivka direction. However, in this region, the Ukrainian defense forces managed to repel the attacks of the Russian troops with artillery support. In this region, we see that the Ukrainian artillery units are working more than Ukrainian infantry units. As we mentioned before, the Ukrainian army is trying to wear down the Russian army here. Therefore, Ukrainian infantry units are more focused on defense than offense. We expect the Ukrainian artillery units to continue their offensive. According to the latest reports, Ukrainian artillery struck Russian positions in Donetsk and Horlivka. I would like to continue our report with the Bakhmut front line. Bakhmut, as you know, has become a knot between the Russian army and the Ukrainian army. The Russian army is about to lose the city, which has been trying to occupy it for 7 months. With the Ukrainian army seizing the area south of Bakhmut city center, the Ukrainian army has gained the advantage in this region. Some allegations say that the Russian soldiers were sent to the Bakhmut region to die. Many Russian sources express outrage at the Russian war leadership over the Bakhmut front line. According to the latest reports, the Ukrainian army continues offensive operations east of Klishchivka and Andriivka. Ukrainian army operations are also underway along the railway lines east of Kordomoivka and Ozorinivka. It is reported that the progress has been made in some areas, but we cannot share it as it has not been yet confirmed. We have already mentioned that mobilization will start in the north of Bakhmut in the near future. We see the Saledar region located north of Bakhmut. In recent days, we see that the Russian troops have been active in this region. According to reports, Russian troops launched an offensive in this region. However, the Ukrainian defense managed to repel this attack. Russian troops also lost a large number of personnel and armored vehicles during these attacks. What do you think? How long will the war continue? Will the Ukrainian army be able to protect its gains? What do you think about the latest situation on the Bakhmut front line? Do you think Russian troops will be able to resist further? Let me know in the comments. I read and I care about all your comments.